seeing the slideshow from home?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Just checking because I wasn't sure if I clicked on the right tab. I've got to do one other thing. Well, it might work right now. Okay. So we're looking at today at the effects that prices have on you guys, the consumers, and then also looking at if you ever run your own business, how prices would affect you if you did that. So this stuff should make sense. So chapter 6 review is online. Everybody here in class got the paper copy of it yesterday. Those of you at home, it's there if you want to use that to take notes and things like that. Today we're doing chapter 2, and I will have a Schoology quiz up by this afternoon. It's going to be on all of chapter 6. So we're going to go through the third part of it tomorrow. So you don't have to take that until tomorrow. I'll have that up there too. Tomorrow we're going to do an activity talking about minimum wage because there is a push in government to raise minimum wage because you cannot live on $7.25, right, an hour. Some states have already raised their minimum wage, and I know most of you work. How much are you guys making? Kate, you make more than $7.25, right?
What?
You make more than $7.25.
I make $11.50.
So you make $11.50 working at Taco Bell. Jess, what did you start at Papa Murphy's?
They were going to start me at $7.25, but they started me at 8.
So they started you at 8. So even with high school students, they're not necessarily starting you at minimum wage anymore. Are you working? No, Joe, you're not working right now. Okay. So what are factors that affect prices? So I'm going to you're an owner of a general store with a whole bunch of new products, and a new employee has just finished putting price tags on several things, and you're going to check their work. So we don't have to do all these, but let's just talk about a couple of these and see if you think that the price is right or wrong, and then we'll talk about why. So $7.99 for a new bike. Too not expensive enough or too expensive? So you're a store owner and you're selling a bike, like a bicycle. Is $7.99 cheap or expensive? It's super cheap, right? Are you going to make any money off of that? You're going to lose money off of that. So that wouldn't be right. How about, I'm going to say $1 for a can of corn is probably right where it should be-ish. $44 for a Frisbee. It's too much, right? Is anybody going to buy it? No, nobody's going to pay $44 for a Frisbee.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
oh, go ahead. Unless it's a trick one or something.
I feel like it was like a famous one, like somebody signed it, you know?
Yeah, so Kaden said if it was a famous one and maybe somebody signed it, then I'd pay $44 for it. But just an average plastic Frisbee, you're probably not going to. Like just to pay like disc golf or something. So that might be something to take into consideration. $9 for a burrito. Probably depends on the size of the burrito, right?
Yeah.
Because, you can get like a little burrito that you can probably buy for $1 or $1.50 in the frozen section. But when I was in college and high school, there was this place called La Bamba's in Madison. And they called them burritos as big as your head. And literally, they were like the size of a plate. And we would go there at night sometimes, like late at night. And then like a friend of mine and I would split one of those suckers. I don't know if they were $9, but I would have paid $9 for it. So sometimes the price depends on, well, like Kaden said, if there's something famous about the Frisbee, maybe you're going to pay more for it. The thing about this, though, is you guys can all look at this list and go, yeah, a bicycle should cost more than $7.99. Or paying $44 for a Frisbee is ridiculous because you guys have an understanding of how prices work in America already. So that's why this whole unit should make sense to you guys because you already know some of this stuff. How does price affect a seller's decision to produce a product? So if you are selling the product, not buying it, how do you decide how much to produce? So buyers who want to find bargains and sellers who hope for large profits both play a part in determining prices. Because transactions in a market economy are voluntary, The price compromise, underline that, it's one of your vocab words, settles the difference between buyers and sellers that benefits both parties. So when you guys are out in the real world, and maybe you have your own business someday, or you're working from somewhere and you're managing something, and you have control over pricing things out, you need to look at the markets, you need to look at what consumers are going to be willing to pay. And as customers, you guys also, especially when you start looking at big things like cars, even thinking like tuition for college, you need to look at lots of things and determine is something too expensive or not expensive enough, right? Okay. How to negotiate prices for everything. So there's a little video I'm going to show. Sorry, I should have had this up, but all right.
Haggling is a lost art for some of us. When it comes to medical care, phone and cable bills, even the interest rate in your credit card, most of us usually pay whatever we're billed, no matter what the cost. Well, you should know there is room to negotiate fees and prices for many products and services, and we're going to show you how. Financial expert Carmen Wong-York Ulrich is the author of The Real Cost of Living, and she's here to help us turn the bargaining pros. Carmen, it's great to see you.
Good morning.
Thanks for coming in. We've always heard this about lowering the credit card rates. The interest rate last year was like 13%, the average rate. How do we do this? How do we get the credit card companies to say, okay, we'll give you a lower rate?
Well, part of it is just asking. And you can't be as successful as you were before, of course, the recession. But here's the thing. You just got to pick up the phone. You got to ask. What really helps, of course, you have great credit. That gives you a lot of negotiating room because you can jump to another card or move your balance. So go and find out what the other rates are that you could get. Go to sites like lowcards.com, bankrate.com, see what the competition is offering. Call them up and say, I will move my business, go somewhere else. I'd really like to have a lower rate. And if they don't budge, that some card issuers now are offering rebates on interest.
Okay.
So they'll rebate half the interest back to you on your next statement.
But do your homework. That's important.
Do your homework and lock in a low fixed rate. Even if they offer a rebate, they can rescind it at any time. So lock in that low fixed rate.
This next one I looked at and went, get out of here. Medical bills? You can lower your medical bills? How does one do that?
This is one of the biggest, I can't talk about this enough. This is so important to understand that when it comes to having to pay for medical costs out of your pocket, there's plenty of room for negotiation. Now understand that doctors and hospitals have 3 different prices for 3 different scenarios. If you have Medicaid, if you have insurance, and if you don't have insurance. So there's a lot of wiggle room in there. Go to sites like outofpocket.com and see what the rate is per procedure. If you're going to have to pay for this out of pocket, see what the average going rate is. Call up, see if you can negotiate your rate down. And if this is after the procedure, make sure to say, hey, if I can pay in cash, what will you give me? Because a cash discount at the doctor, cash is absolutely king, just like almost anywhere else. They can negotiate things down. But be careful, when you leave a hospital, if you have to pay this out of pocket, do not give them a credit card. That locks you into a high interest rate and no negotiating room. Instead, ask for an itemized bill. This is going to be the point where you're going to negotiate that bill down.
Okay.
And then also they have payment plans with no interest whatsoever. So you can save a ton.
Wow, let's get to these next few pretty quickly. Cable and phone bills, easy? Lower the bills?
Pretty easy, especially with cell phones. This is very easy. Competition is fierce, so make sure you go and look up and see what everyone else is offering. Go to billshrink.com, lowermybills.com. Call up your provider. Even better, do like I did recently. Actually go to the store where you get your phone and talk to them and say, you know what, I see it's not a great deal. It looks really good. It's this much. I could save how much? I saved almost $100 a month on my cell phone bill. So do that. Cable providers, here's the thing. They're suffering a lot. A lot of folks are canceling their cable in tough times. Call them up, even if you don't have competition near you, and say, you know what, this is getting really tough for me. Do you have any offers or promotions available? Don't call and ask, they'll say, can I have free HBO? Because that's not going to work. It's not going to happen.
Furniture and electronics.
Furniture, electronics. This is another one. And we're in those months where there's a lot of discounts right now. Furniture, more in July and August. This is when they have to clear out all their inventory. Electronics, January, February. Great time to get a lot of discounts. And also, don't forget, when it comes to appliances, floor models, if you're willing to deal with a couple nicks and
Sure.
scratches, floor models, fantastic way to get appliances. Also, pay on the spot. 'Cause you know what a lot of us do? We go to the store, we check everything out, go home and buy it online. They
Sure.
want you to buy it in the store, and a lot of them are willing to give you a discount if you do.
Finally, that's how it works. So you're checking into the dewdrop in. You say to the person behind the desk, okay, I can get a better deal across the street.
Absolutely, that's a great way to negotiate. Even better, even if you have a reservation, to go in and say, can you do better because I see the guy across the street has a better rate. What's key here is talking to the manager of the hotel you're at, not the general reservation line. They're not going to be able to help you. But again, go online, compare prices, and the longer you stay, the more likely you can negotiate the bill down.
Carmen, I'm going to go for my next medical procedure. I'm taking you along.
Please, I'll help you.
Thank you so
All
much.
right.
Appreciate it. Nice to see you.
Okay, did you guys know that? You can negotiate some of those things? So the medical bill one, I don't know if you guys have insurance, don't have insurance, but it's just something to think about why our healthcare insurance is crap in America. What they're saying is there's 3 rates. And I know a little bit about this just because a friend of mine, she's a physical therapist and she was running her own like clinic for a while. And she said, it's crazy, like, you can charge what they were saying, basically it's a cash. You can ask somebody to pay cash, like they don't have any insurance, so they're just gonna pay you. There's a Medicare, Medicaid rate, which is the government rate, and then there's your insurance company. They charge insurance companies sometimes double or more for procedures that if you just pay cash out of pocket, they would charge a lot less for. That's part of the reason our insurance system in this nation is such a freaking mess, is because insurance companies are a racket, in my opinion. We need them, because if you have major medical, like when I had kids and was in the hospital, I mean, you get your bill and it's like $50,000. But I had insurance, so I didn't have to pay for it. At the same time, just going to the clinic for it, when you go to Fast Care, who's ever been to Fast Care? You go to Fast Care, it's usually under $100 to go there. If you do the same thing and do the same procedures and go to the emergency room, it could cost you upwards of $1,000. So it's just things to think about when you guys get older and you have to pay for your own insurance or your own bill. Things that you can think about. Where she said in there about calling your cable company. So you can call at any point in time if you have Dish, Spectrum, whoever you have, and be like, I saw this deal through another company. What can you do for me, or I'm going to leave? They'll negotiate down with you. A lot of times they'll give you either a break, or they'll give you what the going like promotion rate is at the time, or they might give you like free HBO or something like that. Like, we can't lower your bill, but we can give you this for a few months. Take it. It's worth doing. We're kind of tied in Monroe to Cheyenne. Can you turn that down? We're kind of tied to US Cellular. What else works here in town?
Spectrum.
No, for cell phones. US Cellular.
I think that's it.
I mean, that's one that we get the best service here in town. But a bigger, what's that?
Which service?
US Cellular. But I know there's other services that work. But when you guys, Sprint might work. When you guys get out into the real world, if you move to a bigger city where you have more choices, you can absolutely negotiate down prices when you guys are changing cell phone companies, because you have a lot more choice when you get to bigger cities. And a lot of the bigger cities now and the bigger phone companies, you can even keep your same phone number. You don't have to change it, which is pretty cool. Okay. So these just actually ask some questions about that. It never hurts. And if you guys ever get out there in the real world and have credit cards, after you have it for about a year or two, and maybe you're carrying a little bit of balance, you can call and negotiate down interest rates. We had a couple big ones, and I called, and 2 of them I got 0% interest on. We're not spending any more on them. We're basically like, the account is closed, but the interest rate is 0. And then another one we got, like, the interest rate slashed in like half. So you can absolutely do that. Okay. So markets and prices, how do they work together? Equilibrium. I'm going to show you a slide. The next slide is going to make equilibrium make more sense. A surplus occurs when the price for a product is too high and nobody's buying your product, so there's a surplus of goods. A shortage occurs when the product is too low and everybody's buying your product, so you run out of things. So what you're really looking for is this. You're looking for those who at home, you're looking for this. You're looking for this equilibrium price, where the price of something is such that the right amount of people buy and the right amount of people are selling. So I know there's a lot on this slide, but you guys have seen charts like this. This chart is actually from your old book, from the old book, but it's quantity demanded, quantity supplied, and if the quantity demanded is more than the quantity supplied, then you're going to have a shortage. If you're charging just the right amount and the quantity demanded equals the quantity supplied, you have equilibrium. And if you're charging too much, you're going to have too much product left over. That's why places have sales and things like that too, is that the product wasn't selling, so it goes on sale. And then this just explains those charts. So you guys will need to be able to read like charts and graphs like this. So just make sure you understand it. If you don't, do you guys have questions? Does that make sense? This equilibrium point right in the middle? That should be pretty self-explanatory. I really like this chart better than the one that's in the book that you guys have. So when you're referring, like if there's a question like this on the test, use your slides. Use the slideshows. If you need explanation and you don't understand it. Or ask me questions now. I can also give you guys practice. I'm just not sure that you'll do it. Is that fair? Like I can give you guys worksheets with practice, but who will honestly turn it in? I'm just saying, I don't know. Sometimes I can't get you guys to just do some of the simple stuff. So I don't want to put more work on you, but if you don't understand this stuff, I certainly can. Also, your book has a plethora of resources, your online book. So if you want more practice, and you guys at home, if you want any more practice on understanding this, your book has lots of things that you can do, like little activities that you can do to help you understand. All right, this is just definitions of shortage and surpluses. So a shortage is where buyers want more of a good or service than the sellers are willing to sell or make at a certain price, and surplus is when there's too much.
Can I go use the question?
Yeah, go ahead. All right. So if a burrito vendor sets his price at $9, the market demands 4 burritos, but there's a supply of 44. So let's see. Price is $9. So for those of you at home, price is $9. But the demand is only 4. So what's going to happen? Is there going to be a surplus or a shortage? And you guys at home can yell it out too. So at $9, there's only 4 demanded. How many are supplied? So is there going to be too much or too little of the burritos? It's a surplus. There's too much. Good. Oh, it just says that there's a surplus. If the burrito vendor sets his price at $3, the market now demands 40 burritos, but there's only 12. So now your price is $3 here. The amount supplied is this red line. So this is the amount supplied. This is the amount demanded. So what's happening there? Surplus or shortage? There's a shortage. There's not enough burritos because the producer, he can't supply them. That many. Bless you. So what does that look like? What's going to be the equilibrium price? What do you guys think? It's where they cross. So what's the, yeah, go ahead.
Fine.
All right, so Joe says that $5 will be the equilibrium price. And how many can we supply?
124?
24. Okay, that's right. Let's take a look. So yeah, at $3 there was a shortage. Yep. So, oops. Yep, so you're exactly right. So at $5, you're reaching this equilibrium price. So this is 5. There's 24 supplied. My lines aren't straight, but well. That would be your equilibrium price. And if you someday own a business, you guys are going to have to be able to figure that kind of thing out. That's a pretty easy thing to read though, right? If you have something like that on a test, you guys are going to be able to understand that. Yeah? Okay. All right. All right. These graphs look a little crazy. Don't let them scare you. Changes in supply can cause large price variations. So remember, when you're looking at supply and demand, the whole entire thing can shift one way or another. That's what happens. So if we shift this way, means if we shift to the right, sorry, I forget at home you guys can't see my hand gestures. You're producing more and you're making more money. Shift to the left, you're producing less and you're making less money. All right. So factors that affect individual demand affect market demand for goods, and that's going to also change your equilibrium prices and things like that. They all work together. All these factors work together. Okay, the price system, change in supply and demand. So this is actually, I put this out, I know it's hard to read. I'll talk to you what it's about. So this little activity is about, actually, I think I have it, yeah. It's about Super Bowl advertising. Who's ever watched the Super Bowl? Yeah, do you watch it for the game or the commercials?
Well, depending on
Who's playing?
Plays, and then the commercials are also fun.
Yeah, the commercials can be a lot of fun during the Super Bowl. The commercials, if you look here, during the 365 days or 4 days of the year, the average cost of a 30-second primetime television advertising spot is about $100,000. That's still a lot when you think about it. During the Super Bowl, they charge upwards of $3.5 million for a 30-second time slot. Did you have a question? Yeah. So during the Super Bowl, they're charging 35 times more than they normally charge for a commercial. Sounds crazy, right? Why can they do this? Why can they get away with that? The Super Bowl's a big thing. What's different about the Super Bowl than normal nights on TV?
More people are watching.
More people are watching, so there's a greater demand. So they're going to reach more people with the same commercial that they would put on during a normal primetime spot, and that's why they can afford. What's that? Yeah, absolutely. Kaden said it makes it so that more people can see the business and what's happening there. So that's absolutely what's happening, and that's why they can charge that much. Those are prime spots, and there's only a certain number of commercials during the entire game too. I think it says somewhere in here, I think 70. There's about 70 spots available to sell. So normally during any other time of the year, people aren't going to be willing to sell that. But during the Super Bowl, they're willing to sell it because, or willing to pay it because it's the Super Bowl. Okay. So this just explains it a little bit. Here's a question. What makes the equilibrium price for an advertisement during the Super Bowl different than a normal equilibrium price? I think you guys already answered that. Here's the thing. During the Super Bowl, and this was a few years ago, there's 108.4 million viewers. So in the United States, there's only 300 million people. That means 1 in 3 people are watching the Super Bowl. Now, granted, some of those people are from overseas, but that's why a lot of the commercials you see aren't just American, like McDonald's is everywhere, Doritos is everywhere, different car manufacturers are everywhere. Also, understand that in other countries, they might have different commercials that go with the Super Bowl, but the Super Bowl is broadcast worldwide. That's just a lot of people. in America watching a television show. So, and on an average night, it's probably, 1 million viewers or something like that. Okay. That all makes sense, right? Why you can charge more during the Super Bowl? Any questions? No? Okay. So this is easy stuff, right? I mean, it does make sense. So when we go to test, it should make intuitive sense to you guys. Okay. Okay. That's it for today. Katie, you can run to the bathroom. That's fine. Guys at home, do you guys have any questions? Anybody at home have questions?